So should you niche down with your photography? This is a common question that a lot of photographers have who are just starting out. Should I specialize in one form of photography or should I shoot multiple things? In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with shooting multiple forms of photography and my experience with niching down. And I'm also going to talk about why I think niching down is better. Let's talk about it. What's going on YouTube? Adrian here bringing y'all another video. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Adrian. I'm a wedding and portrait photographer. I'll talk about photography and also the business side of photography. So if you're interested in that type of content, make sure you subscribe to my channel down below. So a little backstory, when we first started photography, we were shooting any and everything. And I think that's what a lot of people do when they first start out, because you're just trying to take whatever you can get. You know, you don't have a lot of clients. You're trying to build your portfolio, so you just have to shoot whatever comes your way. Now, I do think it's important when you're just starting out to shoot multiple forms of photography. I don't think you should niche down when you first start out. So if you're a beginner, I think you should go out and test the waters and shoot different types of photography, because you really don't know what type of photography you love. You have to keep shooting that type of photography to figure out if you really like it. For example, when we first started out, we shot a lot of kids, and I realized because we shot so many sessions that I was like, you know what? I don't really like shooting kids that much, you know? I'll still shoot them, you know, if I have to or whatever, but it's not my favorite type of photography to do. Now, something that I noticed really quick with shooting multiple types of photography is once we translated to being serious about our business, it was hard as far as our messaging and the content that we were putting out, our captions, and just marketing in general, that it was hard to market multiple types of photography. And I think that's a huge downside to shooting so many different types of photography, because when it comes to your marketing, you have to market to so many different areas, and that messaging is changing when you're marketing in different areas. You're not going to market the same to kids and parents, you know, how you're going to market to event photography or weddings, and how you market to headshots. So as far as messaging and marketing, it was very confusing, very hard, very draining. And honestly, it made me not even want to market, because it was just so many thoughts running through my head on how I need to market to this type of photography and this type of client. And it's just a headache. So from that perspective, I think that's a huge downside to being a generalist and shooting multiple types of things, because you have to market differently to all these people. The first major con that I want to talk about is when you don't have that one specific niche, you're going to confuse your clients. Let's say you're shooting 5 different types of photography. You have them laid out on your social media, on your website, but you have your client coming to you just looking for headshots, and you have pets, landscapes, weddings, different events. They're going to be confused. Now, this is coming from experience, but if a client is confused, they're going to bounce your site, they're going to bounce off your social media, and they're going to look elsewhere. Clients come to you looking for one specific thing, and they expect you to cater to that. Everything has to align with that thing they're looking for. So if you do family photography, your copy, you know, the images you show, your website, your messaging, all of that has to align with family photography. You want to be very clear with your website, your messaging, your branding. All of these things play a huge part in clients wanting to book your services. So make sure your brand and your messaging is very clear. And if you don't have these things clear, it's going to be hard to book clients, because they're going to be confused. All right, so the second con to not having a specialized niche is it's going to be hard to demand a higher price. When you're shooting so many different things, it's hard to, you know, charge a super high price, because you don't stand out as that specialist. You're not showing the proficiency that, you know, in that type of work that that client is looking for, because you're shooting so many different things. And like I said earlier, the client is looking for that one specific thing, and you need to show that over and over and over. And when you don't do that, I feel like it kind of ties into the trust factor, because you know, if people want to book, they have to know, like, and trust you. So I feel like that's where being specialized comes in handy, because it builds that trust. I think trust is big when it comes to demanding a very high price. It has to be there. And I like to compare this to any business that you see out here. A lot of businesses, they focus on one specific niche, and they can demand that higher pricing because they focus on one thing. They specialize in that. Just like doctors, some doctors are specialized doctors that just treat certain diseases and stuff like that, and they charge way more than just a regular doctor that's kind of treating everything. So you need to look at your business the same way. All right, so now I'm going to give you some reasons on why you should niche down. So the first one, and I kind of already touched on this, is you can demand a higher pricing. So when you niche down, you are the specialist, and it shows with your branding, your website, because you just shoot that one thing and that's all that client sees. If you have a client coming to you, let's say you're a headshot photographer and that's all you shoot, they're gonna be more likely to book you versus somebody who's shooting babies, events, and all different types of photography, because that's not what they're coming to you for. That's not what they wanna see. But then you have this photographer over here who specializes, and they're checking all the boxes that the client is looking for. You know, you have to put yourself in the mind of a client. If you see photographer B who's shooting a lot of different things, and then you see photographer A who's specializing in that specific service, you're gonna be more likely to want to invest in that photographer and spend good money, because you see that they have the work to show that they're proficient and they specialize in that specific thing that you want. That adds a lot of value and it builds trust, and those are two major components when it comes to people booking your services. Another reason why you should specialize and niche down is because your brand and your marketing will be more clear. Now, I've touched on this earlier, but let me tell y'all, your brand and your marketing is everything. It's like the center of your business, and everything else is just kind of extra. Like, if these things aren't clear, it's gonna be hard to book consistent clients and to demand those higher pricing. Also, it takes a lot of pressure off you, because your messaging and your brand it's easier to work with. It's easier to post on social media. It's more clear, it's more simple. So on the back end of it, it's a lot less work because you only talk about that one thing. Your messaging is clear when it comes to that one thing. You're not trying to do this and then do something different over here. So it really helps your focus and just kind of niching down with your messaging. And trust me, it's just a lot less stressful. Business is already hard as is, but it's even harder when you're trying to market to 6 different types of clients. So from that perspective alone, I definitely think you should niche down. So my final thoughts on this: if you're just starting out, I don't think you should niche down, because you're not gonna have an idea of what you truly want. You need to get out there and shoot different things to see what you truly like, because I think a lot of people make the mistake of niching down too quick, and then they realize later on, like, man, I don't even like wedding photography. Then you have to change your whole business model, flip your logo, change your website, change your social media, and that is a headache. It sounds like a headache. It's giving me a headache right now just talking about it. I feel like once you've been in the game for a while, you've shot a lot of different types of photography, and you know what you want, and you know what you want in the future and your goals, then I think you should start to niche down and kind of define your website, define your social media, get your brand and your messaging down. All right, so that's all I got for y'all today. Be sure to drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. I post new videos every single week. Check out some of the other videos on my channel. I have lots of helpful content about the technical side of photography, also the business side. Appreciate y'all for watching. I will see y'all in my next video. Peace.